Let's look at the first place where you can present yourself, arguably in the most important document in your job hunt, the resume. This lecture is about the 5 rules for creating a powerful resume. In the next lecture, we will show you how to write a traditional resume in 7 simple steps, and there you can implement the tips provided in this lecture. Before we start, let's look at the differences between a resume and a curriculum vitae, since some countries use the resume and others use the CV. A CV, or curriculum vitae, which means course of life, is a longer, detailed document that shows your professional history. Details like your hobbies, date of birth and place of birth are commonly included. A resume is a condensed version of a CV. It's a short, relevant summary of your skills, experience and education. A resume is mainly used in the United States and Canada. Actually, the difference between a resume and a CV is quite subtle, so from now on we will discuss the resume, and if you have to apply with a CV, simply add more details. So what are the most important rules you should consider when writing a resume? A powerful resume is personal, short, relevant, quantified and focused on skills. First, your resume has to be personal. As you probably understand, the perfect resume doesn't exist. Some recruiters like a photo on your resume, others don't. Some like color, others do not. But what all recruiters want to find out is what makes you unique. They do not want to see a standard resume that simply provides some information, so do not surf the internet looking for the perfect resume. Use your own personal touch. We will provide a resume example in the next lecture. Please do not copy this resume, just use it as inspiration and make it your own. So, how exactly can you personalize your resume? First, add a profile, which is a short summary of your strengths and what makes you unique. Another way to personalize your resume is by designing or formatting it the way you like. Third, for everything you did on your resume, elaborate on what you did that makes you unique. Maybe you organized a sports camp, like a lot of people. What did you achieve that shows your uniqueness? Elaborate on this in bullet points. Third, since your resume has to be personal, write in first person, but the word I is omitted since recruiters know it's about you. How can you write in first person without saying I? Well, instead of saying develops promotional materials, which is third person, you write developed promotional materials. You simply deleted the word I. Second, your resume has to be short. Most recruiters do not have the time to read your whole resume. They just scan it really fast, sometimes just 10 or 15 seconds. It's really important to take this into account. Your resume has to be easy to understand. What is short exactly? Some resume experts say 1 or 1.5 pages is more than enough. In the next lecture, writing your resume in 7 simple steps, you'll create a longer resume with everything you did. And when applying for a job, you'll delete everything but the relevant information for the position. So the information that proves you are the perfect candidate. You'll learn how to do this in Tweaking Your Resume lecture in section 4. The third rule logically follows from the second. A short resume should only provide relevant information for the position so recruiters can immediately see why they should invite you for an interview. For example, for a managerial position, the fact that you were a dishwasher is not relevant. Relevant is important when it comes to contact, but also sequence. The content should be relevant, which means it should be relevant for the industry and position. Besides that, the most relevant information should come first, so start with the most important section and place the most important bullet point on top. Also, place everything in reverse chronological order, starting with your most recent position. Since this information is most relevant, this strategy guarantees the recruiter won't miss any important information. For example, if you have a lot of relevant work or internship experience and not a lot of relevant education, start with the work experience section. On the other hand, if you don't have impressive work or internship experience, you can start with your education section in order to give it some extra attention. The fourth rule about quantifying, which means exactly describing what you did on your resume, how many people attended the sports camp you organized, with what percentage you increased sales, the number of projects you manage, etc., etc. Recruiters are interested in specific results. How much responsibility did you have exactly? What exactly did you achieve? This strategy helps you to prove your strengths in enough detail. It forces you not to speak in vague terms. Always remember only to quantify that which is relevant in order to end up with a short and specific resume. For example, you can present your education like this, but you can also present it like this. You include more details, quantified information, which shows your strengths. Of course, don't quantify if the numbers are bad, for example, a grade point average below 3.0, or when it's irrelevant. When applying for a specific position, you can simply delete irrelevant bullet points. Another example, you organized a sports camp. The first bullet shows how much responsibility you had. The second bullet shows you were proactive. If you don't add these bullets all, the recruiter can do is guess about what you achieved. To further quantify your experience, you could add how many hours a week you worked. The last powerful resume rule is really important. Your resume has to primarily communicate skills, not just experience. Recruiters only use the experiments on your resume to infer what skills you have, so it's better to do the job for them and explicitly state what your skills are. One way to do this is by quantifying, the rule we discussed before. Before we can discuss the importance of skills, we should explain the difference between two broad categories of skills: specific skills and transferable skills. Specific skills, also called hard skills, are skills that are requested for a specific position, like field knowledge or field experience. Objective skills. Most of them are easy to prove. Transferable skills, or soft skills, however, are more subjective. For example, how you communicate with other people. They are called transferable because they can be used in a lot of different settings. Transferable skills are harder to prove. Still, recruiters are really looking for the most important transferable skills. They make you an interesting and great candidate. What are the most important transferable skills you should prove on your resume? In almost every job, you have to be able to work in a team, have to be able to communicate effectively with colleagues and customers, and you have to be creative in coming up with new solutions. Also, multitasking and critical thinking are important in a world that is becoming more complex. Besides this, leadership potential is often a plus. How can you prove you're skilled in these areas on your resume? The answer is by describing achievements. In this example, Paul provided evidence for two important transferable skills. He describes one of his achievements, and with it he proves he has leadership potential and teamwork skills. Bullet points start with verbs, in order to focus on actions. What did Paul do, and what was the result that was an achievement it's all about? If you can, make sure you use powerful verbs like analyzed and developed. If you use powerful verbs, your achievements will seem more impressive. Attached to this lecture is a list with powerful verbs you can use. If you still work there, make sure you use the present tense. Now you learned about the 5 most important rules when it comes to creating a powerful resume. A powerful resume is personal, short, relevant, quantified, and skills-oriented. What is it you can do now? When you start writing your resume, make sure you apply all the rules discussed. Also use the attachment powerful verbs to come up with powerful sentences. In the next lecture, you'll learn how to write your resume from scratch in a few simple steps. If you already have a resume, it's still useful to watch this lecture. It will reveal quite a lot of useful tips. Enjoy!